So in Kant's epistemology, you have this one very particular faculty called the apperception. It comes a bit late in the game after he's already, done his Copernican revolution in the first critique, after he's already developed his faculties of the intuition, the understanding. He's laid out the categories and whatnot, but the faculty of apperception. It's kind of like it's similar to self-consciousness. So it's our mind's ability to recognize that it is, having cognitions and doing all of the things that it does. So, it's pretty similar to self-consciousness. Very important faculty in epistemology and in Kant's understanding as well. And the way that he lays it out, it's a very interesting thing that he does. And he says that the apperception's ability to grasp itself is a spontaneous act. So what does he mean by spontaneous? What exactly does that mean? For Kant, spontaneity doesn't mean something that happens. His definition of spontaneity is very different from how the conventional understanding sees it. It's not something that happens kind of like automatically or reflexively or something like that. It is a free choice undertaken by an agent, whatever agent is in question here. So the apperception is this faculty of the mind that makes this free choice to perceive itself. It's pretty interesting and wild thing to say, but to try to get back to what I was talking about yesterday in the context of the prisoner's dilemma. I made this video yesterday, you can check it out, about this game theory model problem called the prisoner's dilemma, where basically the rational thing for a particular agent to do is against their self-interest, essentially. So the question, or like the way to relate game theory to like socialism or like socialist organizing, building socialism, is like to think about the movement of going from our present status quo within capitalism to building socialism, which involves a bit of sacrifice. It's a game theoretical problem that is similar to the prisoner's dilemma, because it's kind of like against an individual's immediate interest to suffer loss on behalf of this greater good or whatever. But then like we have to account for like real phenomena, like this summer that just passed in the United States and this riot wave that swept the country. How do you account for these real empirical phenomena that definitely happen in the world, these real social movements that suddenly are tearing the country apart and provoking massive repression on the part of the state, and inciting like your average citizen to get all decked out in body armor and go blasting Antifa with their AR-15s. So how do you account for these kinds of movements that seem to suddenly spark up overnight? What is the actual principle at play there? How is it that, or why is it that these people, all of these millions and millions of people who are participating in these movements, have managed to temporarily pick themselves up and dig themselves out of the prisoner's dilemma? And I'll just say at this point that I'm going to be kind of rehashing this really excellent essay from the Endnotes Collective's third volume. It's the final essay in the volume, called Spontaneity, mediation and rupture. I did a podcast episode about it, so I'll put a link to that and to the essay itself. But basically, the way they frame that question is in terms of spontaneity. Do these movements arise, spontaneously, in the sense that it's just like this kind of like freak occurrence that just happens as a result of like chance or something like that? Is that the basis? Is that the only like real empirical basis for these kinds of movements picking themselves up out of the prisoner's dilemma? Because like this is whatever principle is at play here is a historic principle that determines social movements and is going to be highly relevant to how we think about doing a revolution. So is it really just this kind of like spontaneous kind of like random freak chance thing, or is it spontaneous in the Kantian sense where these people who participate in these movements, who turn them from nothing to something, who are able to extricate themselves from the prisoner's dilemma, are they doing it as a free-willed act? Are they choosing to extricate themselves from this dilemma, to dig themselves out of the whole of the status quo, the whole of the present? So yeah, I guess, ultimately, the best way to escape the dilemma of the prisoner's dilemma is to choose to change your framing of the question. It's really a matter of choice on the part of individuals. Free will, it's a complicated question. It's not as black and white as yes or no, but you have the experience of free will, at least. So like this question of how to go from nothing to something, how to begin to build socialism, how to do a movement, how is it that has happened in history? How have all these people managed to do this, even in the case of like real revolutions that actually happened, like in China and in Russia? In both of those cases, there were, organized parties who were really involved in the workers' movements. They were really involved in the struggles, and, they're pushing them along, and they are there at the right moment to, help those workers' movements like go over the hill and actually not just temporarily take control of power, but permanently change their societies. But even in those cases where there's this like organized force at work, they're still really just capturing the energy of this movement of people, the workers' movement, that is spontaneously generated in the sense of all these people choosing to participate in this movement, participate in digging themselves out of the hole. So yeah, that's all I'll say for today. I'm going to continue on this theme. There's more to be said here. It's a pretty interesting topic, I think. I hope the video was interesting. Hope it could be at least a little bit inspiring to you. I've got to go do some deadlifts now, but I'll see you next time.